Right now, I'm pleased to be joined by Linda Fisher. Welcome, Linda. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And first thing I want to ask is about your background, your family, why you want to be on the new school board.
I'm running for the new school board because I've been a parent, a volunteer, and employee of the school system. I feel very strongly that education is the key, or is a key component in our society, and I'm very excited about being a voice as we develop a new school system. I've been involved as a volunteer. I've been a two-time past PTA president. I've sat on the Shelby County PTA board, and I've also been a substitute teacher and an employee of our school system, which gives me a nice insight to the day-to-day logistics of operating a school.
It does. You've been in all sorts of areas of running a school system. Tell me now, we talk about starting a new system and hoping it'll be world-class. What are some of the things you think will help make it world-class? Some best practices. For example, I think the studio is a best practice.
It is. Our schools have a wide array of academic and extracurricular programs, whether it's, like you said, the TV program, or it's the Honors Academy, or it's the HOSA program, or it's the IB program.
Explain what the HOSA program is.
There's a health and science program at one of the high schools, and they do a lot of work in the health and science area. They compete district and regionally and nationally, and it's a good insight for those students who want to have a career in health and science. And I think that we have, like I said, a lot of these programs are already available, but I think it's great that we are going to get the opportunity to develop new ones and hear the community's values and needs as we develop a school system and possibly improve upon or add more programs.
What about programs that are for perhaps students who are not interested in a college track? Are you interested in developing more programs for those students?
I am. I'd like to see more VOTEC student courses. I'd also like to see some more dual enrollment.
Talk to us about that. Explain what that is.
Well, that is where that students earn college credit as well as their high school credit.
High school credit at the University of Memphis.
Correct.
Good. Now, one of your very first jobs will be to hire a superintendent. Tell us what characteristics you'd like to find, what laundry list you'd like.
I'd like to see someone who was a teacher, a principal, as well as a superintendent. It would be great if we could find somebody who had some experience in developing a new school system that's good in communicating with the parents, balancing a budget. I think all of those are key things.
Very nice laundry list for him or her, as the case may be. Have you heard any names mentioned?
No, I have not, but this next Tuesday night, the city is going to be having a forum where people can put input in about what they'd like to see as far as the
Let's talk about that a little more. Where will this forum be?
I'm not sure where it's going to be, but the mayor and the city of Alderman will be putting this on, and I know it's at 6 p.m., so I'm sure you can check the City of Germantown website.
Site to find out, because I think that's a critical way to have a voice in what's coming up. Yeah. Let's talk about the buildings for a minute. Negotiations are ongoing with the unified system about keeping boards. What would you like to see happen with the school buildings?
I'd like to see us negotiate to keep all 8 of our buildings. I think it'd be great if we could also keep the students as well that we're currently serving. I think it would ease in the transition. We've had a couple years of instability in our school system, and I think we need a year where we can get back cooking our own food, a power school that the teachers can use, is user-friendly, where we can get back our teacher-classroom ratio. I think that we need a year of stability before we make big changes.
Tell us what a power school is.
Power School is the system that contains all the children's grades. The parents can access it. The teachers put their grades in. The office uses it for looking up demographics on a student. The guidance counselors use it to advise. And the one that I think this year, the one that we have with the new school system is instead of 1 click, it takes you 22 clicks.
Oh dear, that's discouraging. Okay. What I want to ask you about board dynamics. And how involved do you think a board should be in the day-to-day activities of a school system? What the micromanaging should be or should not be?
I think the school board's job is to function mainly to educate the children according to their learning capabilities. I believe that they are there to set direction and policy, not be involved in the day-to-day operations, but let the administrators handle that and proceed with what we recommend.
Mm-hmm. So you would not be involved in banning books, as some school boards around the country have been.
I think our main concern is going to be getting a school system up and running in a short time.
The mayor of Bartlett, Mayor McDonald, has suggested that we delay opening schools for a month till after Labor Day so that you have a little more time to do just that, to get a school system up and running. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it is going to take a lot to get a school system up and running this next year. Besides hiring teachers and policies, food and nutrition, busing, payroll, there's a lot to put together. I think that it's going to depend on when we end up negotiating for buildings and getting a superintendent hired.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about busing, et cetera. Have you heard anything, or do you have any thoughts on the idea that perhaps Germantown Municipal System and a Collierville Municipal System could share some things, like busing or purchasing?
I think that would be ideal. I think it's too soon to talk about that. I think right now everybody's trying to get buildings negotiated
Right.
and move from there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but it might be a way to save money.
Yes,
if you could.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for looking at whether outsourcing things or doing things internally. I think there's a lot of options, and working with other school systems. I think it's going to come down to what's the best for the community and what is the most fiscally responsible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are there any, well, let's just set hypotheticals. We're going to talk about teacher hiring now. If you have two teachers who are equivalent in capabilities, perhaps experience, one's a Germantown teacher and one is not, one's from outside the Germantown school system, would the teacher who is currently teaching have a hiring advantage?
I think that our current teachers would have a hiring advantage. We have a great array of teachers in our elementary, middle school, and high school that I'm sure we would like to keep. But I'm sure it will be a fair playing table when it comes to hiring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You were talking earlier about some teachers you admire. You want to share that with us?
Well, I have to say, when we moved here, my son had a learning disability, and I still remember to this day walking into Farmington Elementary and Dr. Hart saying, "What can we do to help you?" Mm-hmm. And I think every parent wants to hear that.
Yeah, exactly right.
And it's still, it was the big turnaround between my being a parent advocate and working with my son and his teachers working and helping. It really made a huge difference, and I think that's what every parent wants.
Right. Thank you. That's a good way for us to end. I think this will be an interesting race.
Thank you.